What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned in to the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya from Seacrest Studio, Children's Hospital, Colorado. Maya, today is a very big day. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, it is not only your 250th interview, but who's on the line with us today?
JT Neal.
JT Neal, welcome to the Seacrest Studio in Children's Hospital, Colorado.
I can't believe I'm here. This is the biggest honor. 250. That is insanely impressive.
Thank you.
Wow.
Maya, take it away, girl.
Thank you. Well, so first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in. I have been so excited to talk with you.
Likewise, I'm beyond honored to be here. This is so cool for me. So thank you for having me. I feel I've seen your other shows and I've seen the other people that you've interviewed, and I'm nowhere near them. So the fact that I'm in the conversation is very humbling for me. So thank you.
Yeah. So my first question for you is, when was the moment you first knew you wanted to be an actor?
It was interesting because I grew up and I was always dressing up in like costumes and stuff. My grandma would make me a Zorro costume or like a Dracula costume. And I always loved to entertain and to, pretend and make believe. And so it was always something that was like in me. But when I was growing up, I grew up in a really small town where sports and athletics were the main focus. And so I had no exposure to theater. And then in middle school, my 7th grade year, I was almost kind of forced to audition for the school play because I got in trouble in my English class a lot. And my English teacher was like, go to the principal's office or go audition for the play. Just get out of my class. So I went and I auditioned for the play to save my hide. And I just fell in love with it. It was a comedy. And I remember just that moment of making people laugh and making our director laugh was just so much fun for me. And I was like, this is it. This is what I got to do for my life.
Oh, cool. So I believe that, I'm not sure if I read that your first big role was in the Disney XD show Lab Rats.
Yeah.
And I loved that show.
Me too.
What was it like being on a Disney show as your first role?
It was surreal because much like you, I'm sure, I grew up watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. And when I had that opportunity, I was really young. It was like I had been out here for only a few months and I just happened to audition for it. And when I got it, I didn't know how to act. I didn't know what to do. And I remember going to the lot that we were shooting on. It was Hollywood Center Studios, which is a very, very famous studio here in Los Angeles. And I remember walking onto the sound stage and seeing the set there and all the props and everything sitting out. And they took me to my dressing room and my name was on the door. And I was just like, I couldn't get enough of it. I was walking around the set. I was like going and meeting everybody and like shaking hands. And it was just this moment of like, man, hopefully I get to make an impact on somebody watching this, the way that I was impacted when I was a kid watching Disney. So it was very just like, I'm sure that I was beyond annoying to the cast and crew because I was just asking so many questions and I left my door open so that people could come and talk to me. And it was so exciting. And I still kind of get that feeling whenever I'm on set. It doesn't ever really go away. It always just kind of feels surreal that it's happening.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you played Jacob Bowman on Bless This Mess, which I was so disappointed when that show was canceled. I loved it. And it was hilarious. And I actually interviewed Lake Bell a couple years ago. And yeah. Yeah. She is. and so I was wondering, do you have any fun stories from set that you can share?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, it was such a fun environment, and we had such an amazing guest cast and main cast. And when we would all get together, we would just sit in the tent together and we would like sing and we would do little bits together and try to make each other laugh. And stuff like that was just so fun, sitting in there with Jim O'Hare and Lisa Linky and Nancy Linehan and Joe Nunez. Like the guest cast was just amazing. So we had so much fun on that set. And I still talk to all of them to this day. That's how much we bonded on that show. But I remember when we were doing promo photos for season 2, we were on some soundstage and they were all taking pictures and stuff. And we were sitting around waiting. And somebody had brought this little tiny mechanical like 4-wheeler, and Lake was driving it around the set. And I was just like, this is my boss. She's like driving this little, like almost a remote controlled 4-wheeler around the soundstage, just zipping around. And it was just like, this can't even be real. This is the most like insane thing that I just get to come here and have fun for a living. This is beyond crazy. But it was just stuff like that. It just made that show such a fun environment to work on.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Did you have a favorite episode too? Oh, sorry. Wait, I mixed up the questions. That's for my
Okay.
next question. So never mind.
It's okay. We'll get there.
Yeah. So your latest show is Pivoting, where you play Matt, and this show is laugh out loud funny. Like I cry every time I watch it, cry from laughing.
Sure.
Yeah, and I've watched every episode multiple times.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so what has been your favorite episode to film?
Oh man, we had so many fun episodes. And I was super blessed because I got to work with Jennifer Goodwin for all of my scenes. I was a little bummed that I didn't get to have any scenes this season with Eliza and Maggie and Tommy, because they're all so great. But oh man, my favorite episode to shoot, I think the episode where you first like see Matt's bedroom was a lot of fun for me, because it was the first time that you got to kind of like peek behind the curtain to who he is as a person. Every episode before that, you'd seen him in the gym and you saw him like kind of in his element. And then at home, he's kind of a dorky guy, and he's got, you know, a Goodfellas poster on the wall and the Hangover poster, and it's chili pepper lights along the window. And it was so bizarre and hilarious. And it was all just like the vision of our team and our producers and our creator. And it opened my eyes up to like even more who Matt was. Just because he's like a little kid inside, you know, he likes to have fun, and he's just kind of whimsical. And you don't get to see that all the time when he's just working out in the gym. You know, so it was a fun little like peek behind the curtain.
Cool. So do you have any pre-taping rituals that help you prepare for a scene?
You know, it's gotten much easier. But certainly when I first started, I had to just kind of take some time by myself backstage, and especially on like a multicam show like Lab Rats, or, you know, I was on a show called Haunted Hathaways that was like that. And then I just got to work on the iCarly revival for Paramount Plus, and all of those shows are multicam. So it's kind of shot like a play. And when you go in, it's like the take just keeps going. There's no like, all right, we're going to get your 2 lines of coverage, and then we're going to cut, and then we're going to do that over and over again. It's like the scene keeps going. And I would get so nervous when we would shoot those. And so I really had to like step back and just breathe for a second before I went on, and just say like, hey, I deserve to be here. I'm here for a reason. And I know that I can do this. I know that I'm capable of this work. So And that just kind of got me out of my head and just let me kind of like relax into it and know like what I'm bringing is enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where it was like, they hired me. I'm here for a reason, because I deal a lot with like, oh my gosh, they're going to fire me at any second. Like they're going to realize what a mistake they made hiring me, but I've never been made to feel that way. It's just in my own head. It's like, it's floating around in there. So just taking time for myself always really helps.
Oh, cool. So what is the biggest lesson that you've learned since your first role?
I think just knowing that I am enough and that I don't have to put on any kind of character when I'm, just kind of off camera, or off stage or whatever, just sitting back in the green room with my castmates. I don't have to perform. I can just kind of be myself and know that I'm enough, because I used to want to tell everybody like, no, like, I promise, like I deserve to be here. I do. And, and I think to a certain extent that kind of starts to get tiresome for some people. I think I just learned to relax into it. It makes performances a lot easier, and it makes the jobs a lot easier. Takes the pressure off of them.
Yeah. So what would be on the gag reel of your life?
The gag reel of my life?
Yes. Yeah.
I kind of feel like my whole life is a gag reel. I just genuinely, I try not to take anything too seriously, to a fault sometimes. Like my poor girlfriend has to deal with me just like always trying to do a bit or always trying to make her laugh or do something. And she's like, can you just like be serious for a second? We have a flat tire or something, and I'm trying to make a joke out of it. I've always loved to make people laugh, and I will do anything for a laugh pretty much. I think my whole life is a gag reel. That's a good question.
Thank you. Yeah. I was talking to my mom about that question, and I told her definitely what would be on like both of our gag reels would be like every time we're trying to like go someplace new, we get lost and we go on an adventure. So
you sound like you guys might be kind of like my grandma, where wherever direction she's facing is north. She's, so it's like directional stuff it just goes right over her head. She's like, I'm going this way. It has to be north, right? That's very funny.
Yeah. So what fictional character would you not want to meet?
Would I not want to meet?
Yes.
Fictional character I would not want to meet. I don't know. I don't think that I would want to meet Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I hate the ocean and the water and being underwater and in the water. And also, she's scary. She's got a beautiful voice. But I think Ursula would be like, she's not the kind of person that if I was like scuba diving, I'd want to just like bump into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a ton though that I'm like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near you.
Yeah. So what movie or show always makes you laugh no matter how many times you've seen it?
Movie would be The Princess Bride. That movie is one of the, I say that it's like one of the biggest reasons I wanted to be an actor. I don't remember a time in my life that I hadn't seen that movie. It's just always been a part of me. And no matter how many times I watch it, I cackle every single time. The whole Miracle Max scene is, oh my gosh, it's top 5 funniest scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And TV show would probably be The Office. That kind of humor, like the really kind of dry humor, very kind of like understated, always just makes me laugh. where sometimes you don't even realize that somebody said a joke until way after the fact. You're like, wait a second, what did they just say? That kind of comedy gets me every time.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of just what you were saying about The Office. That reminds me of the show Happy Endings, which is one of my favorite shows. Sometimes I feel like they have like very these throwaway lines that you have to it will take a minute for you to realize what they said.
And it was even a joke. And sometimes you have to watch it like 2 or 3 times before you're like, wait, did they just, I get it now. I'm putting all the pieces together.
Yeah.
The best kind of writing.
Yeah. It is. So, is there a musician or band that you always recommend when someone asks you for a music recommendation?
I listen to all types of music. So it depends on what the person's kind of into, but I always recommend the Stray Cats. They're this rockabilly band from the 80s, and they're probably my favorite band of all time. It's a 3-piece band, and they're just amazing. They're playing kind of more modern, 50s rock and roll music, 50s and 60s rock and roll music. But the guitar player, Brian Setzer, is just he's insane. And I've gotten to see him a few times live in concert, and he's just as good live. It's the Stray Cats and the Marcus King Band. I'm really, really into. I've been into for the last 4 years or so. I got a lot. I'll send you a list.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So, is there a show that you're currently binge watching?
Yeah, I'm binge watching a few things. Right now, my girlfriend and I are binge watching RuPaul's Drag Race, which is so much fun. I was just talking to some friends about it, and we're all kind of binge watching it at the same time. Because I had never really watched it before until this year. And when Angelina, my girlfriend, was like, "Hey, we should watch this," and I was like, "All right, great." And it's I was saying, it's like a funfetti cake, I just can't stop eating it. It's so just fun and delicious, and it's always a good time. So we love that. I'm binge watching Mythic Quest right now, which I know you're a big fan of. Yeah, I saw your Danny Pudi interview, and he's amazing.
Thank you.
But yeah, Mythic Quest is hilarious. I binged watched The Mysterious Benedict Society recently, which if you haven't seen, it's fantastic. Yeah, there's a few. I mean, I've had a lot of downtime recently, so I've been going through.
Oh, cool.
What are you been right now?
Right now it's Happy Endings.
Okay.
But we're almost finished with that, so we're trying to find a new show to watch.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, right? When you finish a show, you're like, what do I do now? I'm fully invested in this show only.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do have, if you are ever looking for new shows to binge watch, I do have a couple suggestions.
Hit me.
Okay. Well, when lockdown first happened, I rewatched all of The Flash.
Okay. Yeah.
So that I love that show. And then Arrow, I also love, and Teen Wolf.
Sure. So, I would have never guessed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very subtle with what I like. Yeah.
Okay, The Flash and Arrow. I know my nephew and my sister love The Flash and Arrow. So yeah, I'll give those a shot too.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And then Will and Grace.
Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just one of my all-time favorite shows.
That's one of those that you can just rewatch over and over and over again, and it never gets old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also I'm also watching Castle right now.
Oh, Castle. Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm also rewatching The Rookie because that is another one of my favorite shows. So
Nathan Fillion, right?
yeah.
He's fantastic. He's so good.
Yeah.
Good choices. Strong choices.
Thank you. Yeah. So what not so great movie do you secretly love?
Not so great movie do I secretly love. There's a horror movie, if you can call it that, called Troll 2 that I think has been voted like the worst movie of all time. And I watch it every single Halloween. It's one of those movies that's like so bad you can't look away.
Yeah.
It's weird and like gross and hilarious, but it's like completely not meaning to be. And yeah, my friends and I love to just like watch it every year and laugh at it and make fun of it. Fully knowing like this is widely considered to be the worst movie of all time.
Yeah, I think somebody else told me about that movie.
Really?
So I'll
About
have
Troll 2?
Yeah. I love, there's this movie called Ishtar that is that's also like people have voted it one of the worst movies ever made, but it's like the best movie ever.
Yeah.
So
those are the best. Those are my favorite movies.
Yeah. And my family and I love it. We just watched it again a little while ago, and we realized for like the first time after watching it so many times that there's one plot in it that really makes no sense. And it's just hilarious.
That's all of Troll 2. There's not one plot in there that does make sense. I was very into like Mystery Science 3000 kind of things where people are like commentating on the films as they go and making jokes and laughing about it. And that's what Troll 2 is for me. It's one of those movies where I can sit here with all my friends and just like make jokes. It's so much fun.
Yeah. So is there a quote from a movie that you always use?
That I feel like my vocabulary is like 90% movie references and movie quotes. I always say, you keep on using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. From The Princess Bride. I say that a lot. My dad and I always say, not a finger, which is from A Christmas Story. When she breaks the leg lamp. There are so many. Santa, I know him. We have a lot of Christmas movie references. I mean, I speak in references often. So there's a ton. I could be here all day.
I feel like I'm the same way, that my brain is mostly like movie and show quotes.
Yeah.
I speak in a lot of Will and Grace quotes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Look, when you watch enough film and television like you do and like I do, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
It has permeated my whole existence, film and television. Yeah. So yeah, it's like I can't really get through most conversations without quoting something.
Yeah.
It's how I communicate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like my most quoted shows are Will and Grace, The New Adventures of Old Christine, and Gilmore Girls. Oh,
fantastic. Love Gilmore Girls. That was a show that I binged watched at the beginning of the pandemic with Angelina was Gilmore Girls. My sister had watched it when it was airing. And I never really got into it. And then when lockdown happened, she was like, I'm going to watch Gilmore Girls. And I was like, great, let's go. And we had nothing to do all day, every day. So we were just watching Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I was rewatching that during lockdown.
So good. It holds up.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. My mom watched it when it was on, and then she showed me and my sister the show a while ago, and then just became obsessed with it. So I rewatch that often.
It's great. Yeah. And all the actors are so good. One of my dear friends, Rose Abdu, was on that show. And so she played Gypsy, the car mechanic. So every time she like pops up on screen, we're like, it's Rose.
Oh, I loved her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And she was in Bless This Mess. And she's just like the sweetest person. So it's very exciting when I get to see my friends like on film and television that, I hadn't seen them on before. It's like, oh, they did that.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Wow. A real life superhero. I don't know. Right now, the world is so full of, I think, real life superheroes. And the last 2.5 years, and this year, especially with like everything that's happening in the world, I'm astounded every single day at the strength of people and, frontline healthcare workers, and I'm sure your entire team at the Children's Hospital, like everybody there is just, it blows my mind what they can do. And the way that they keep, patients uplifted during all of it. And like my grandfather was in the hospital last year for a while, and the doctors there were just so wonderful and kept all of us, when it was like, okay, you can only have one person in a room at a time and this and that, they still tried to make us feel very connected as a family, and stuff like that, I think, is invaluable in times like these. It reminds you of the humanity that's out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I have just had the best time talking to you. You've made my day, so thank you.
You made mine. There's no way this is over already.
I know. I don't want it to be. I would just love to keep asking you questions all day. So
that would be a blast.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, JT, for spending so much time with us and sharing everything with us here at Children's Hospital Colorado. I know Maya will keep us updated on all the amazing things you're doing, as she has a weekly show here in addition to her interviews. So we'll know where we can always find you and watch all of your successes.
Thank you guys so much. This has honestly been such an honor. I know that I said that, but it really is. This is so fun. So thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye. Bye, you guys. Thank you, Maya.